Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Truly another gift from God that we are alive and that we are well. If you've seen some of my content, you might be wondering, how is this little man traveling the world? Well, I'll tell you, how to land a remote sales role or a high ticket sales role, even if it's for your first time. Because if you listen to all the information I'm about to tell you, with this information that I created and that I also paid for, I kind of combined it all. I was able to land my first role in 8 days and start taking calls 4 or 5 days after that. So it's an extremely quick process as long as you're dedicated and you're tenacious and your resolve is present. If it isn't, then whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you genuinely work for it and you follow like a proven strategy like I'm about to share with you, your odds of succeeding are so much higher compared to you just doing it alone, if that makes sense. So without further ado, my friends, let's dive in. How to land a role. So, introduction, building the foundation, your network, personal branding, elite outreach, sharpening your sales skills, and investing in yourself. Well, let's get started. So guys, experience is definitely important. I'm not saying you have to have experience in remote closing or even sales itself, because I didn't when I first started. What I did actually is, if you can read some of these here, is I started off doing appointment setting for about 6 months. And that time frame allowed me to hone my communicative and closing ability. Not as much, like it's not obviously very fast. I'm not talking to people directly. I'm just communicating for them over text, but it allowed me to learn the basics at a pretty decent rate. And even with the appointment setting, once you get a little bit of experience and confident, you can even start calling people like 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the call saying, "Hey, Mr. John, I'm just checking up to see if you're free for that call in an hour." Awesome. Sounds good, brother. I'll speak to you soon. Or something like that. Something simple, right? To get you start to getting better at speaking and selling. So it's definitely important that you do that. And if you don't know what appointment setting is, it's basically you find someone that's qualified for your offer on social media and you just close them in the DMs to sell them to actually get on a sales call, to get on a call for someone else to close. And if that person gets closed by the closer, then you get paid. And that's how you make money as an appointment setter. I would say average like probably 2 to 5K a month at most, unless you're on like a super elite offer working for somebody else, then that's probably about the range of money you can expect doing appointment setting. The next thing is being a phone caller. So if you have any phone calling experience, that experience translates beautifully into the selling industry, especially remote closing, because you're obviously not talking directly to a person in the same room, like it's over the phone, or kind of. So it's on a Zoom call, depending on what your offer is. The final way is being around successful people. So I also did this. So if you know someone or you don't know them yet and you want to get close to them, be around them just as much as possible, because if all they do is win, then you really can't lose. If they're winning all the time, then all you really can do with them is win. So I actually lived with someone for a couple of months who was an absolutely excellent communicator and the best closer in the world that I still know. He's still the best closer basically till this day. And I was around him for like 2 months, and just being in his presence, just all the information and knowledge and wisdom that he possessed, it just like got transplanted directly into my brain. And that's how I can talk the way I talk now. And that's why I carry such confidence when I do talk. So experience is important. Sure, whatever. Like, I feel like when you're working a job, like your brain is just turned off and you can't really say things. Like you're just numb to everything, like numb to reality. That 9 to 5 life is not good. You guys need to get out of that as soon as possible. So next is your network. So a lot of people neglect this actually. And I actually did too when I first started outreaching. I didn't start doing this until a couple days into my outreach. But follow people who are already setters and closers on social media and build connections with them. Like their stuff, follow their social media, comment on their posts, like engage with them in a valuable way, and then maybe build some connections on the DMs. And maybe once you get to know them a little bit, saying, "Hey brother, do you know of any appointment setting or remote closing opportunities at all by chance?" And then maybe if they don't, whatever, go to the next person. Like there's so many, there has to be like countless people who are already setters and closers on social media. So follow them and build relationships with them. And if possible, maybe let's say you're a video editor and you give them like a free reel or something. And saying, "Hey brother, I just provided you some value. You got any remote closing opportunities for me," right? Like if you're that, like if you already have a skill, then just use that to get some information and get some opportunities maybe. Like potentially, that's definitely an idea. Next thing is leveraging the connections that you already have. So if you know people already in the space, then contact them. Like, what are you waiting for? There's no time to waste. You could die tomorrow. Next thing is being an exclusive network of like-minded individuals. So I also took this path. I've been slouching in my chair, and that might have not got on the camera. Oh, well, I can't even see my camera. I can't see myself. But being in an exclusive network of like-minded individuals, like I said before, I did take this route already. I paid like a premium price to get phone numbers and get in contact with people who are already extremely successful entrepreneurs and extremely successful business people who, especially like there's some people that are in remote sales, private jet industry, business coaching industry. Like I know a wide array of people, a wide array of successful people, and I have their numbers. So if I need any problem solved, I go to them. And if in terms of like communicating and closing and sales, if they have any problems, they come to me. Like it's a symbiotic relationship that I have. And it skyrockets your success because, again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you're around people who win all of the time and make copious amounts of money, who are hitting the gym, who are fighting, who are doing everything correctly, then all you really can do is win. I can't personally like be a man and see all that success and people winning that I know personally and like just not win with them. Like it doesn't work like that. So network is definitely important. Next is your personal branding. Think of especially your social media, mainly your Instagram, as like your digital real estate or your digital business card. You want to showcase the lifestyle that you live coupled with professionalism and your skill set, whatever that is. So if you go to my Instagram in the YouTube description, you can kind of see posts of my lifestyle and then videos showcasing my skill set, which is talking. And you can see reels of me actually talking and content like that. You want reels that exhibit your skill, that showcase who you are. To give you a quick little analogy, like think of stories, because you always want to have something on your story, especially when you're outreaching to people, because it just shows you're authentic and shows you're a human. Think of your stories as like your daily television show, where it's just like, you don't even have to think about what you're going to post, just post whatever the hell you're doing. Like it doesn't matter. Think of it as your daily television show. Next are your reels. So think of your reels as like a window into your life, like someone else is watching you from a window inside the house of your life or the skyscraper of your life, and people see what you're doing. Think of your reels like that. And your post, just make it as professional as possible. Maybe a post of you dressed up in a suit, maybe a post of you on a jet ski. Like it doesn't matter. And if you're broke and you don't have too much money right now, just try your absolute hardest, like hire a professional photographer, do everything you can to showcase like an extravagant and professional lifestyle. So like your digital business card is elite and it's professional. You can also get on YouTube. That's what I did. It definitely helps. It's not required, but if you're outreaching to people and they see you have a YouTube in their bio and they're interested, maybe they check out their YouTube, check out what you're talking about. It's definitely something that you can have that just puts you above the rest when it comes to outreach and when it comes to showcasing your authenticity. If you have any questions on what exactly to post on YouTube, then you can just look at mine. I just kind of post whatever I want. The next thing, again, it kind of goes back to the last slide, engaging with others. Same thing, just following people, building connections, building valuable connections, etc. So I'm sure this is what most of you are waiting for. So how I landed a role in 8 days was doing a valuable, personalized Loom outreach method. So this is exactly where your personal brand comes into play. So it's personalized outreach with Looms. And if you don't know what Loom is, it's basically a website exactly like this where you're watching like a circle of your camera and you're sharing your screen. That's what a Loom is. You can just look up Loom and you'll see it pop up. And what you do is once you film a personalized Loom, I'll actually give you a quick example of how I say it. I usually don't do this, but well, whatever. So let's say we have a business coach named Mr. John, and he's not looking for anything, but he's like a perfect outreach prospect that I want to outreach to see if he needs a closer. So here's exactly what I would do. That's it. When you're starting a Loom, like smile and wave because it captures the first frame as a thumbnail. So like just do this. Mr. John, kind sir, it is an absolute honor to meet you. My name is Adian Turley, otherwise known as the Absolute Killer in high ticket sales and remote closing. I've been through some of your content, Mr. John, and I absolutely love what you're doing in terms of business coaching and how you're absolutely revolutionizing it for the better. I also see a picture of your son here. You have a beautiful family, my friend. You might be wondering, who is this guy? Why is he outreaching to me? Well, I've worked with brands like DRB who have successfully scaled over 1,000 brands online and is currently managing over $200 million in monthly ad spend. Mr. John, I would love the honor to cold call some of the dead leads you actively have just to genuinely show you what I am capable of in the remote sales space. Mr. John, it was an absolute honor to connect. I wish you a fantastic and fabulous new year, and I hope we get the chance to speak soon. So that's a Loom. That's like an example of a Loom that I would send that provides value. I'm polarizing, I'm projecting my voice. My voice is dynamic, I'm using intonation, and like it captures their attention because everyone else that is using this Loom method is like, hey, Mr. John, so you can definitely benefit from a high ticket closer. I actually have like 2 years of experience selling for this offer, and just like a little bit more about me. So my name is Bartholomew III, and I've scaled like 10,000 brands online, and I just like it doesn't work. It's not smooth. You need to be dynamic when you talk and be smiling because it draws people in because you're charismatic. Like you have an appeal about you, like an essence that draws people in. And if you're charismatic, like another tip, if you're charismatic, you'll be such an excellent closer. Especially if it's coupled with empathy and you can understand people's emotions and where they're coming from. You'll be an excellent closer. So next, when it comes to elite outreach, and also before you send these Looms, you want to bombard them on every single platform. I'm talking YouTube, get their email from YouTube. I'm talking Instagram, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Facebook, every platform, just like all of their posts, not all of them, like maybe like 5 to 6, comments on all of them saying, hey, Mr. John, phenomenal post. Love the value you're sharing. And then maybe another comment, hey, John, I just shot you over a DM on Instagram. Like do that on every single platform, and obviously making a little bit different, like be perspicacious. But yeah, if you do this method, like you send that loom that I just mentioned, you bombard them on every single platform. Like you make it basically impossible for them to miss that message, because most of the time it ends up in their request box. So if you provide value, I'm not saying like bombard them in a disrespectful way, like be respectful, right? Provide value, that's exactly what we talked about. The next thing is sending voice notes. So that just skyrockets the process of actually building authenticity faster and building that credibility, because I mean, the person you're outreaching to has no idea who you are. If they watch your loom video, that helps. That definitely helps. And the next thing kind of goes back to what we were saying, like build relationships with people who are in the sales space. It just puts you on that fast track of landing that role as soon as possible. So this is kind of like phase 2. So after you land a role, then you want to focus on sharpening your sales skills, because if you don't have too much experience, like it helps to like do it on the side, but you don't want to make it like your full force of attention. Because I landed that role in 8 days. I got the interview and passed the interview in 8 days because all I was focused on was outreach. I didn't care about communicating, but I was already a pretty good communicator. But I didn't care about like actively practicing. I didn't care about practicing overcoming objections. Like I didn't care about any of that. All I cared about and my first priority was actually landing that role. And that's why I landed that role so fast. So after you land that role, then I went all in on like training more objection handling, training how like to do introduction, training how to do pitches correctly. Like I trained more on that. I already know how to do it a little bit from being around that person, that mentor that I was speaking about earlier, but I wanted to be ready. So some things you can do is always be talking. So one thing I did was always role play with myself. Like I'd be the prospect and I'd be the closer at the same time, saying like I'm acting as a prospect here. Like, brother, I need to think about it. Of course, Mr. John, that's absolutely fine. You can definitely think about it. And in terms of the process, like everything we went over, do you think like with all the protocols and frameworks that we have, that it can actually take you to 10K a month so you can support and provide for your family and protect them? You do, okay. Why is that? Awesome. So before you go away and think about it, what specifically is coming up for you that makes you want to do so? Like you can just role play with yourself like that. And it helps, it actually does help. And you can watch like YouTube videos, get some free knowledge. And then appointment setting, I mean, I guess that's kind of a way you can also sharpen your sales skills. Depends if you have that position or not. So next, investing in yourself, right? Knowledge is power. It is. You also need to get experience as soon as possible. But yes, knowledge is power. Like the fastest way you can do it, kind of like what I did, is learning from a mentor that you trust, that you know is credible, that you have faith in, that you think can genuinely take you from where you are now to the lifestyle and the money and the finances that you want to have later in your life, to be that man. And you're also following like a proven system that's already worked before. Do I have another slide after this? I do. So, hey, here's the pitch. So what I do is it's a Vanguard Protocol, right? And you can click off the video, I don't really care. But if you're interested, then it's a proven framework like we just mentioned, where I give you just more details on exactly what I did to land that role in 8 days and exactly how I did it, like proven protocols and proven frameworks on exactly each step I took to land that role in 8 days. You also have one-on-one access to me wherever you want. Like it doesn't matter. Just call me. I'm always on my phone. It doesn't matter. And then support and accountability. I'll support you through every step of the process. And when you do land that role, because you will, if you're following my proven systems and frameworks and you're passionate about changing your current situation, I will support you and hold you accountable every step of the way. And when you do land that role, I'll be there to train you on exactly how to overcome objections, how to pitch correctly, how to talk correctly, how to be charismatic, how to have empathy, how to diffuse a situation, how to handle ego, how to do an introduction completely and utterly amazingly. Like I'll teach you all of these things so you can actually land these roles and thrive in those roles as well. So if you're interested, hit me up on Instagram and I'll get you situated as soon as possible. My friends, it was an honor for you guys watching this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to speak to you soon in regards to Vanguard Protocol.